Today we have gathered here for study circle on overview and updates on labor laws. To dwell upon this subject, we have Mr Ram K Navratna. I request C. Jairam sir to escort a speaker onto dais and then welcome him with the floral bouquet. Thank you, Jairam sir. Thank you, sir. I have a privilege in introducing today's speaker, Sri Ram K Navratna. Ram sir is a postgraduate in social work from Karnataka University. In addition to his PG qualification, he has a diploma in labor and administrative laws, diploma in personnel management and industrial relations, diploma in training and development. He has started his career in the year 1982 as personnel officer and rose to the rank of general manager HR. He has over 30 years of experience in personnel, industrial relations, administration, HRD and training. He has served in Sandur Manganese and Iron Ores Limited, Indonesian Foods Limited, Hindhai Vacuum and Semilabs Limited and Semilab Limited. His areas of interest and experience are performance management, corporate social responsibility, training and development, brand awareness from employer-employee perspective, building successful working relationship with working teams, statutory compliance and employee satisfaction skills. He has also authored 11 books on HR field. Some of them are Sippandi Adalita Kannada Kaipidi in Kannada, Practical Guide to Personal Profession with reference to small and medium organization, Karmika Kavya Sankalana, Compendium of Labor Laws, FAQs in Labor Laws, to name a few. As an innovative approach, first time in history of labor laws, he has brought 13 labor laws in Kannada song form, which received well attention from HR professionals and government of Karnataka. Many of his useful articles published in professional journals, and he is a regular writer in Human Resource Journal of National Institute of Personnel Management. He has spoken over many subjects in All India Radio in Bangalore. So far, he has trained more than 50,000 participants on various themes of all levels. He has he has a YouTube channel, HR Resonance channel, having 52,000 subscribers, and also HR Resonance, and he is a Chief Executive Officer of HR Resonance. With this brief introduction, I present before you Sri Ram K Navratna sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Manjunath, for that introduction. My dear audience, it is my pleasure, my dear audience and my professional friends. It is my pleasure to be here on this dais to address this August gathering. Of course, I am not new to this institute for almost more than a decade. So various sessions I have taken on this dais. So it is a pleasure. Because of that, I am connected to many CAs, and also for more than 2 decades I am on the faculty for Institute of Company Secretaries Karnataka chapter also. As such, I have got a huge friendship and relation with all these professionals. So whenever I come here, I really enjoy that. Well, my dear friends, as Mr. Manjunath has already told. So the topic given to me is overview of labor laws and latest whatever that will be there. Anyway, not much amendments are there. Rather, I can say there are nil amendments other than latest Supreme Court judgment on POSH Act for non-implementation of that. Okay. Anyway, I'll go through that one, browse, and try to relate to most of the examples and my experience, because I also served 29 years in industry, in corporate world, in various levels as senior management, and also for the last 16 years I being a management consultant facing innumerable problems and issues. So rather than more presentation, rather than making PPT, even you can stop me in between also, instead of keeping the question answer at the end. What I will do at the end of each law, okay, I can give a pause. If you have any doubt or question, I think you can ask, so that you can be benefited, so that I will also have a satisfaction of having delivered the useful knowledge. Well, I am going to cover the topics on Shops and Establishment Act, Minimum Wages Act, Payment of Wages Act, then Payment of Gratuity, Bonus, then coming to the Industrial Law of Industrial Dispute Act, Industrial Employment Standing Order Act, then I speak something on ESI, definitely not on PF, then POSH, Maternity Benefit Act, employers' obligations on that, and also a few words on new labor law, that is the labor codes, so which is in the process. So these are all my various topics that I want to deliberate on that issue. So before I start my session, quickly 4 or 5 questions quiz like. Okay, rather we can say brainstorming as well as some exercise. Quick quiz I would like to take on 4 or 5 questions. I did not take that one. Anyway, I'll take it at the end. Now, my dear friends, you being a labor law practitioner, or the one of the basic knowledge or awareness one should have is, as we know, all these laws are basis Constitution of India. Okay, it is all emanated from Constitution of India, and in the Constitution, state, central, labor and concurrent lists are there. And labor is coming under the concurrent list. As such, we see the law mostly of central as well as state also. State can also form act and rules also, that being a concurrent list. Even if a central government formulates the law, state has to make respective laws. That is what we see. This is the first factor. We being a professional, we must understand. That is point number 1. Point number 2, you are all finance and accounts professional, but in the labor laws, everything is depending on the head count, number of the employees, number of the workmen. That is most important. Almost all these laws except few, everything is depending on the number. That you must understand. In other words, what I am telling, one must be aware, am I coming under the purview of this law? Whether this act is applicable for me or no, that knowledge is very, very important. For example, take Gratuity Act. Gratuity Act is applicable for 10 and above employees. Bonus Act, 20 and above. But government can make a gazette and extend for 10. Maternity Benefit Act, 10 and above. So like that each law, shops and establishment, there is no number as such as per the schedule, but almost all schedules are there. Minimum wage, there is no schedule. there is no number, but all the scheduled industries are covered under the minimum wage. Take for example construction industry 10 and above, migrant labor 5 and above, standing order 50 and above, Karnataka, central 100 and above, Karnataka Labour Welfare Fund 50 and above. So like this, it all depends on the number. Contract labor 20 and above, Provident Fund 20 and above, ESI 10 and above. Whatever this number I said, they are all number of employees or the workmen in the establishment. If that number an employer or establishment touches or cross that number, it is the obligation of the employer to cover under that act and start compliance. So that one must be aware. That is all very, very important. Therefore, as such, the basic knowledge of am I coming under the purview of these laws is most important. That one must have the basic knowledge, and that one must keep in mind. Now let me go through the law. I am going to start with the general presentation first on overview of labor laws and the latest changes, whatever we call for this. So legal aspects of employer and employees. What are all the legal obligations? And we being a professional, we must understand, as far as this labor law is concerned, employer has got also the responsibilities under each law. And the employees have also got obligations towards the establishment. That both sides. Both you should be aware. And we cannot say only compliance is not there, not there. There are certain duties and responsibilities cast on the employees also. And there are rights of the employees also. We being an employer and professionals, we must be aware of our rights as well as the obligations from compliance point of view. So that is one of the important aspects one must keep in mind. Now just to give you that, as I have already told you in introduction, what is the labor laws, how they are all emanated, that I have told. Then classification of the laws. There are about 44 central acts in labor laws. On an average, because I conduct the HR and labor law compliance audit also, on an average about 14 to 18 acts are applicable for every establishment, depending on the change, like shops and establishment. If it is a construction industry, if it is a factory, certain changes will be there. But on an average, 14 to 18 acts are applicable. Employer is obliged to maintain, comply and do the needful. That is what one has to keep in mind. And once that is there, once we come to understand we are in the purview of that law, it is applicable. Now first I will take to the registration of shops acts and factories act. There are certain elaborate procedures are also there in that. In case of shops, once you start, within 1 month you have to get registration. Whenever an employer or inspector comes and asks, that time one should not open. Many of the people, they come to me, many of my professional friends of chartered accountants and company secretaries, they call me, sir, one of my client inspector has come and they have given dhamki like this, they have made him to fear all this thing, what to do, how to go about that one. So it is the duty of the employer to comply once he settles down. It is an obligation. Shops and establishment, everything is online today because we are in a digitalized world. Factory Act also registration. Before registration, there should be a prior approval of plans as devised and as done under the KFR, Karnataka Factories Rules. Then followed by that, erection of the machinery, trial production. Then we have to submit for the registration, that is called the license under the Factories Act. So these are all, and these plans have to be approved prior, before the commencement of the construction or before commencement of the production. All these have to be done in that. Specific period is there, 15 days, 30 days, normally within 13 days, all these have to be done. This is the obligation of the employer that one must keep in mind. And as I said, registration is online. If you go to the respective websites, you will come to know, keep all those documents ready, all soft copies only. and prescribed fees is also mentioned there. Okay, then that will all take you to that, go through that one, once take a trial, then do that one, everything that will all go. In fact, today before coming, my staff has done in Sharma Suvidha, one of the query in Chitradurga, okay, we have done the registration for the employer. 3 days my staff struggled, it did not take. It has not taken for some of the varied reasons. But today he was successful in doing that one in Sharma Suvidha. Because query comes under the central, okay, we have to do under the Sharma Suvidha. One more thing you have to understand, whether am I coming under the state or central. Like banking, insurance, shipping, mining, all these comes under the central act. For that, regional labor commissioner or assistant labor commissioner, labor enforcement officers are the authorities. Bracket central. Like factories, shops act, construction company. Construction also both in central and state. If it is a pan-India, then it comes under the central. That also one must be aware. Who are all our authorities? Whether state or central. That is another knowledge is very, very important. Once you as an employer or professional advises your clients for the registration, once after the registration it has got a personality, legal personality or shape of the establishment emerge. After doing that, then next stage is appointment, employees or workmen, whoever is concerned, or professionals, you are going to engage them. Once you engage them, you have to define what are all employment conditions. What is the recruitment, what are all the conditions, what is the profession, when it is going to be confirmed, okay, what is his salary structure, what are all his rights, what is that he has to do, what are all do's and do nots, what is the termination procedure, what is all the confidentiality, etc., etc., depending on the nature of the operations. So one has to divide employment conditions, try to better write and devise. Don't do the last minute work. Don't dig the well when there is a fire. Okay, then all these employment conditions, they will be governed by Standing Order Act, Industrial Dispute Act. These are the acts you must be aware. That is the thing. Okay, they are all that should be the base for that. For senior employees, management employees or managers and above, law of contract. Law of contract will be there for that. But under the new labor codes, managers and everybody is covered, it is a wider. So far, there was no protection. Now protection, it is labor law. Why they are called labor law? Because labor is protected there. Whereas managers and supervisors, what we call real supervisors, they are not protected. That is why they are called the labor laws. But under the new labor code, even the manager, senior manager, president, vice president, for them also all the laws are applicable. That is one change you must keep in mind. Anyway, yet labor codes have not implemented. That is different aspect. But you as a professionals, you must be aware for that. Once after employment conditions, obligations of the employer and employees. Okay, that's what I was telling. What are all the obligations? Number one, first register. Whenever there are amendments, make an amendments. Whenever there is a renewal, see that renewal is done well in time. Normally 30 days time will be there. And whenever you are closing, surrender the certificate also with all due letter and information, whatever that is required. Whether it is shop, whether it is a construction, or whether it is a contract labor establishment, or the shops. Okay, you have to do that one. Those are, and issue the appointment order. That is one of the obligations of the employer. Then payment in time. Okay, then working conditions, proper working conditions as defined under the law, 8 hours, 48 hours, overtime wages, etc. And also the leave provisions, what are all the leave provisions, what are all the compensatory of provisions, etc. Then what are all the basic facilities like toilet, urinal, spit-ons, creche, canteen, etc., etc., depending on the number, whatever is available. Under the PFIDSI, register and extend the benefit, pay the contributions in time, including the labor welfare fund. These are all certain responsibilities of the employer, basic responsibilities. Okay. Then same way employees also, whenever they are there, okay, they should do all the needful to the employer, aligned to the goals of the organization. They should perform the duties. They should adhere to the rules and regulations, follow whatever that is all stated and do that one. and safety, health, welfare, whatever that is there, they have to all abide by those rules and regulations. And whenever they want to leave, submit proper letter, notice period, etc., which is nowadays it has become very big problem everywhere. People suddenly disappear, even the professionals. ಹೇಳೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಕೇಳೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಹೋಗಿಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಸರ್ ನಮ್ದು ಲೀವ್ ಇದೆ ನೋಡಿ ಅಡ್ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಪ್ಪ ಅಂತಾರೆ. But you cannot be adjusted. That is another problem of our employer under the law. Okay, these are all certain responsibilities of the employees also. Labor law speaks for both. Then next, good governance. Ultimately what? Everything is going to be governed by good governance. It means we have to devise the policies and procedures. Ways and means we have to do that one. We have to make aware and we have to see that employees are following that one. It has to be followed in act and spirits. Whatever the submissions, requirements, whether it is written, whether it is any statement, whatever we call displays or whatever, all those have to be done in that. And we have to treat the employees fairly and well as stipulated under the law, apart from all our human relations and communication approach, whatever that will be there. What we call dharma. Okay, whatever dharma is followed and all that. Dharma, I am not telling caste. Okay, human dharma, what I am telling, and we are all human beings. So those have to be followed, that all the at the time period is very, very important. Whether it is a registration, whether it is a renewal, whether it is a payment, whether it is a non-payment, whether it is a contributions payment, statutory payment, non-statutory payment. So all those are all attribute for good governance. Then non-compliance. Non-compliance is always very serious act. You as a professional, you are aware, non-compliance or non-payment of the contributions in time, income tax benefits are going to be lost. You are all aware, which you have to advise. Apart from the penalty and whatever say damages and all that, whatever that will become, that is a costly affair. Costly and unnecessary cost factor will be there. Financial liability will be there. So all those non-compliance we should advise, we should guide them, try to make it within time only from the larger interest. That is another responsibility of that. Then what are all the legal aspects? Then constitutional provisions I have already told. List under the constitution also I have to. Then if we come to the classifications of the law, regulatory laws are very important, like Factories Act, Shops Act, Construction Workers Act. They are all regulatory laws we call. Why we call regulatory? Because they regulate the working conditions for the employees as well as the employer. That is why we call them as a regulatory laws. And for the inspectors we call it as a regulatory authorities we call. So in that Factory Act, Shops and Establishment, Mines Act, or Plantation Act, okay, even you can call it as a Contract Labor Regulation Act, so they are all regulatory laws. Social Security, Provident Fund, ESI, gratuity, okay, they are all social security laws. For gig workers under the new law, gig workers contribution will be there, which is a new emerging subject. That is one of the good field for you professionals. Henceforth, whatever coming companies are going to come, they are all gig type companies only, because economy and nature is also changed. They are all social security laws. Payment laws, payment of wages, everything is regulated, how the payment has to be made, what period should be there, what is the deduction, what is the payment, what are all the records to be done and all that, what are all the obligations of the employees and the employer, everything is mentioned there. Then Minimum Wages Act. Minimum Wage Act is a very serious act. The employer has to comply, otherwise penalties will be higher. And even in one case, Supreme Court has said, if you are unable to comply with the minimum wage, don't run the industries. As it is called minimum has to be paid, come what may be the circumstances. We cannot reduce. So those are all the laws under payment laws. Service conditions. Under Industrial Dispute Act, whether it is a layoff, whether it is a retrenchment, whether you want to change any service conditions. Today you are providing transportation facilities. Let us assume tomorrow cost factor will come. We want to withdraw transport facility. Today I have provided canteen. Canteen I want to reduce the cost. So far I was giving a free. Now henceforth I want to make charge basis. Then leave facility, you are giving 10, 25 you have given, total 50 leave you have given. In the beginning, with all jam, today your industry is faced a problem, financial crunch started, your payments inflow has been affected very badly, then we open the eyes, no, we want to reduce the leave, this we can't afford, no, reduce that one. What is that has to be done? Service conditions, again Industrial Dispute Act provisions have to be followed. Mergers and acquisitions today, we are all talking, one lot of organizations are mergers and acquisitions, you are all aware, happening. Apart from all company law provisions and finance provisions, even in Industrial Dispute Act, transfer of undertaking provision is also there. All that has to be complied. Because employees, you have to undertake or take over or settle. You have to do, those provisions are important. That is what service conditions. Standing order. What are all the working hours? What is the payment hours? How to terminate? Or how to reinstate? How to call reback? What is the leave provision? What are all confidentiality agreement violations or following it up? Disciplinary actions. What is all that has to be done? All those, everything will be under the Industrial Dispute Act as far as workman is concerned. So you have to be aware about all those things. Then law relating to the employment. That is, employment exchange compulsory notification of the act. You have to notify. Employer has to notify the vacancies. Then law relating to the holidays. Government officers, banks, all these insurance companies, they are all governed by what act? Negotiable Instrument Acts. But whereas all the industrial establishments act, they are all governed by what act? National and Festival Holidays Act. In short form, we as an HR call NFH. NFH laws have to be followed. Then law relating to the labor welfare. Each state has got labor welfare fund. Like that, Karnataka has also got Karnataka Labor Welfare Fund. Every December, normally you deduct 10 rupees and pay 30 rupees, and in turn you make a submission before 15th January, and out of that fund, your employees or your workmen, they are all going to get scholarships, hospitalization, SPAT, Tallo Gadi, okay, etc. Various benefits are provided for them. Particularly, scholarships are really great for the workmen's children. So like that, it is all called labor welfare. It is available in all states. Then law relating to the association. The employer may be very bad or recalcitrant employer may be there. He don't care for the employees. He don't honor the employees' rights and duties. Then they will form union. Of course, union we can find not only for the blue collars, even we can find for the officers also. Officers association we call. There is no rule that officers should not form the union. It is called association. They are all governed by Trade Union Act. So, HR professional and you finance person should be aware about those provisions. How the union is formed, what should be the number, what are all the obligations of that, which is activities, they are all prohibited. So what are all the statements they have to maintain, what is the return to be followed, and how the employer has to be done that one, etc. So they are all called law relating to the association. Then other laws like Apprentice Act, okay, Professional Tax Act. Anyway, Professional Tax is Tax Act. But most of the HR and other persons they follow. Recently, Professional Tax has also got amendment, you are all aware. Till now it was still 15,000, now it is all till 25,000 rupees. PT is there, and from April you were supposed to submit the return, but 1 month time they have given till May end, you are all aware. That is the latest as far as Karnataka Professional Tax Act is concerned. And the employer has to also register, not only even you professionals. Even I am a professional, HR business is my application, I have to register under professional tax, every year pay 2,500 rupees as my PT fees for registration of the establishment. If employees are there, those who are drawing more than 25,000, PT has to be paid. So, my dear friends, this is all about the overview of the labor laws. So all this and almost what I said, it came to around 29 labor laws in all these things statements, whatever I mentioned, 29 laws. So when we all add, it comes to 39. I said about 44 laws are there. So one should have all these basic knowledge, because you are going to come one or the other way, the applicability of that. Little I insist on Shops and Establishment Act, because most of you people, as I know, since I am associated with the institute for quite long, most of the organizations rather than factory, construction or plantation or mines act, shops act, you are all going to deal that. So what is shop and commercial establishment? That is all defined. Okay? Including hotels, clubs and all those will be shops and commercial establishment. Even the corporate office, they are all establishments. Why? Because clerical activities is going to be practiced there. Clerical activities are happening. That is why corporate office is also establishment. Therefore, it has to be registered under Shops and Establishment Act. That way, all IT companies, IT related companies, all those will be under the Shops Act. That is how that you must be aware. And once I have already told about the registration, you have to be done. Once you start the application, you know all those obligations like display of that, following that one. Renewal also, whenever any changes happen in respect of establishment, working hours or the employees number, okay, all those amounts to the changes you have to, or nature of the company like proprietor to private limited to public limited, etc., etc. Even when your company name changes, nowadays lot of companies are changing the name because of the amalgamation, change, okay, all those things, all those amounts to the amendment. And renewal, 30 days time is there. If you don't renew within that, you are liable for penalty or prosecution, or you may be get rattled or harassed by the inspector. Therefore, avoid that. And also at the same time, closure. Many of the people they forget. That is what I find in the profession. Even we, my associate friends like chartered accountant, company secretaries also, they will not follow closure procedure under the shops and establishment. Whenever all this establishment is closed, close means real term close. In GST and all that, you have to really submit, everything should be closed under PF, PSI, different laws. Because there should be real closure. That's temporary closure and all that, that is not applicable there. But in shops and establishment, yes, you can do. When you close, you have to surrender your certificate with the due letter and information to the inspector and take acknowledgement. Failure to that, your name will be in the books of the department and they will send the notice for renewal or thing and all that, you may be get rattled. That will be the consequence. Therefore, keep in mind, whenever you close, okay, so do that. Now you may ask me one question in that. Sir, we have not closed. So far we were there in Wilson Garden. Now Whitefield is best because metro has started. Earlier whenever people used to go to Whitefield, they used to get mad. Now that situation is not there because the metro is started. We are shifting our office to Whitefield. What should I do with certificate? Very simple, you need not surrender. Approach to the concerned that area inspector or ask this inspector, sir, my establishment, I have been shifted, therefore now please help me in transferring that one. Then address change will happen in that. In shops and establishment, address change will happen. That you get it done, then so that whatever fees you have paid for all that, that will be all saving and your certificate, okay, that will be in the validity of that one. So that's what you have to follow. And once you do that one, then you have got certain responsibilities on that, like safety, health and welfare. Regarding the safety, there should be in case of fire, there should be separate entry. One day door irrobaro. There should be emergency. Particularly it happens in corporate office and all that. Like Majestic anta area dalli eradu bagalagalli idokagalla shock irode ishte iru. Like you take any cloth or anything or like that. Like kids camp, it is big. They have to keep the emergency door. So like that, and fire extinguisher should be there. Okay, all that will be there. Health also no. Though it is not speaking anything, but congenial working atmosphere should be there. And also the this Factory Act is a mother act for all the laws. Say 48 hours working, maximum 9 hours or 48 hours in a week. And if you are obliged to get to work that done more than 8 hours, twice the rate of the wage. That is the overtime provisions. And 50 hours in a quarter, you can get it done. So next coming to that leave provisions. For every 20 days, there should be one working. In Factories Act, after 240 days or 1 year, preceding year leave we provide. Whereas in Shops Act, from the day one, it will start. In Shops Act, there are two leave provision. One is earned leave, another one is accident or sick leave or for any emergency leave. We may call it as CL or whatever by name, but CL, it is not in the law. Okay, it is not in the law. So for every 20 days you have to provide one leave. It means 300 working days, even if we presume in a year, divided by 20, it comes to about 15 days. Earlier, so far, 30 days was the accumulation. During Corona period, that act was amended and 45 days can be the accumulation of the leave. You can allow the employee to accumulate 45 days. Of course, recently one of my client company, there was an issue. Sir, what about the encashment of this leave? And employees, without providing the notice, they run away. Can I adjust all this leave, etc., etc.? There was a big debate and all that. Then I also interfered with it. It's a very big company, Pan India company. They are into the finance lending company. So these are all the issues going to happen there. So please remember, till 45 days, employee can accumulate. Over and above, if you want to provide encashment, you provide it. Otherwise, ask them, you have to utilize. Sorry, I can't provide. And all those. Then women working. So women working, you are all aware, 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. working. But in IT enabled industries, Act was amended. They can work in the night also, but subject to certain conditions. Lot of form yes and are there. That you have to provide every month. The employer has to provide with accession and suppression number and all those things. Those are all. And also women's safety, dignity has to be followed. It is the employer's responsibilities. And failure to that is a very serious offense. What is that? Hewlett Packard chairman was summoned. You are all aware, you might have read in the newspaper. When first time taxi driver molested the lady who was going to the work. Okay, you are all aware about that. Then law had made further stringent, particularly female traveling in the cabin. Then they ensured there should be other one security person should be also there, phone should be also there. Then there should be dropped at the door, etc., etc. All those laws and regulations came. So whenever you are deploying female employees, you must be double careful, because the consequences, if it happens, the employer will be in serious trouble. Those are all women working conditions. Then accidents and dangerous occurrences. Of course, in shops, chances are less, because there nothing manufactured or anything will be carried on. But whereas in factories, because work may be hazardous, welding, okay, casting and all that, explosion, maybe usage of the fire, etc., gas, all those will be there. Whenever any accident happens, what are all the responsibilities of the employer? Even in shop, they fell down from the staircase, or heart failure will happen, or they get fainted. So all those things will be there. One must be aware what are all the accident provision and dangerous occurrences. All may be not accident, all may be not dangerous occurrences. So these are all various obligations of the employer and employees under the Act. Then one more important, one must be aware, of course this is in common in all the laws, that is inspectors. Okay. First ESI has made, they are called facilitators. Inspector name they removed, because government they don't wanted Inspector Raj. They wanted to abolish. Therefore they made them as a facilitator. Even under the new labor code, they are going to call as a facilitators, not inspectors. So whenever you must know the powers and duties of the inspector, very important provision. I conduct lot of labor law program of a day in various hotels across India. So there I elaborate what are all the duties of the inspector and all that. Whenever they come and ask the records, you please produce. Normally most of the organizations what they say, sir, you will not record ನಮ್ಮ auditor ಹತ್ರ sir, auditor office ನಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ most of the people they say. That's okay. But even then later you have to provide. Try to know what are all the duties and the responsibilities of the inspectors. In case of non-honoring their word or anything, then what will be the consequences? What is the serious thing? That also you must be aware. Not only by giving bribe or managing things, that is not permanent. Many of the companies, they don't do that also. Then occupier and manager, very important in all the labor laws. In Factory Act, we call occupier. Occupier is one who has got ultimate control over the affairs of the company is an occupier. Because ultimate control, he is the supreme as far as the Factory Act is concerned. And in all others, managers also we mentioned, because occupier, everything he cannot do day-to-day aspect, routine aspect, he can't see because he has got higher responsibilities and he has to look after the ordinary establishment. Manager is the one who is a front warrior. What are all the duties of the manager under the Factories Act, Shops Act, in all payment of wage, even the minimum wage? Who is the manager, they ask. In case of any non-compliance or infringement of the law, all these occupier and managers are liable for prosecution and consequences. In many of the organizations, they may ask you to become occupier. They may ask you to become manager. Don't become the occupier and manager. Adenadru vandus nimge jail guarantee. Okay, that is what I am telling. Don't worry, don't feel. But what I am telling, comply. Comply the provisions. Okay, then you are safe. What I am telling you, that one. Those are all the responsibilities of the occupier and the manager. Then penalties. Dandam dashagunam bhave. So if the employer or they don't, if they are recalcitrant and if they don't follow, then what to do? Ultimately the penalty. Under the new labor code, penalties have been enhanced. Financial penalties are there. Under non-existing labor laws, 500,000, 10,000, a peanut, so penalties are also there. You being a professional, it is one of your duty to avoid, prevent. That is why in HR we say proactive. Be proactive. Gaddik ಬೇಕಾಗಿದ ಬಾವಿ ಕೊಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಬಂದಾಗ ಓಡಿ ಹೋಗಬಾರ್ದು. ನೆಗಡಿ ಬಂದಿದೆಪ್ಪ ಅಂತ ಮೂಗು ಕೊಯ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. Okay, those are all. Be proactive. So these are all certain legalities from employee's point of view in almost all labor laws. Next important employment conditions under the labor law is employment conditions. Appointment, very important. In fact, yesterday I was in Bijapur in one of the sugar factory. They called me. That factory belongs to one of the minister. Anyway, I don't want to name the minister. Even in current government, he is going to be minister. Okay, no appointment order, no paper, nothing. Baar aya, ho gaya. Yes, ವರ್ಷ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿದ್ಯಾ? 2 years, 3 years. Okay, 1 month, 2 months, no appointment orders. But please remember, labor law states appointment order. Even in shops and establishment, once a person is appointed within 30 days, appointment order has to be given in form Q. You may ask me the one question. Sir, form Q ne kodabeka? Nam company we have got 2 page, 3, 4, 5 page appointment order with confidentiality. We have got adane kodabeka. You provide your order, but see that Q conditions columns are existing in your appointment order. Okay, that is what matter. Appointment and even the new labor code prescribes compulsory appointment order. For that, consequences are severe under the new labor code. My dear friends, the point that I am driving here is, please ensure from all your client company appointment orders. There should be something. Because in the absence of any appointment order or any engagement letter, employee's hands will be higher than employer in case of any problem or dispute. We should not. That is the whole idea of that. Then working atmosphere. I am not talking working conditions. I have already told you ours. Working atmosphere. It is the duty of the employer to provide congenial atmosphere in the organization. It is the employer's duty. Why people leave? Narayan Murthy has said, employees, they don't leave the company, they leave the boss. You might have heard that thing. So, congenial atmosphere you have to create by number one, following the law, keeping the systems in place, then approach, then grievance handling, okay, seeing the satisfaction level from time to time, all those etc. You have to make working atmosphere congenial. Earlier I used to do the recruitment activities also. Of course nowadays I have drastically reduced because it is a donkey work. So many of the employers used to ask me, Ram, so ಅವರೆಲ್ಲ ನಮ್ಮ ಕಡೆ ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅವ್ರು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹೋದರೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು? then can you take the responsibility if they leave in 1 month, 6 months, 3 months, what I should do? ನೀವೇನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ? Then I used to say, it is not my responsibility. Once I provide you the candidate, my job is over. retaining him and making him passionate in the job or remaining in that, creating good atmosphere, that is all your responsibility. I as a recruiter, we can't do anything. Our role ceases there. We have no scope. So employer has to do that. So in many of our organizations, the employer and we professionals forget. Okay? So that is what atmosphere. Then terminations. It is not higher end policy, whether it is a manager, whether it is a supervisor, whether it is a workman. Of course, workmen, they are all protected. Even the managerial and all that. Follow the procedure, whatever you have mentioned as per the terms of the contract in appointment order or engagement letter or offer letter, whatever, that will be there. Okay, that is what termination, follow that one. Under shops and establishment also there is a provision. If there is a termination, okay, then penalty will be there up to 6 months salary, okay, has to be paid. Enquiry has to be conducted. It means fair chance for termination and separation. That should be there. I hope we all agree for that. For anything there should be a fair chance. Both sides have to be heard. Then leave, holiday and entitlement. I have already told about the leave provision. Holiday in Karnataka, 10 holidays are minimum, what we call NFH, 5 national holidays and 5 festival holidays. And even if you work on holidays or any pressure of the marketing conditions, you need not lock the organization. You can get the work done, but give them substitute holiday or pay the twice of the rate of the wage. Okay, that fulfills the law. Then maternity benefit provisions. This is also one of the very important provisions. So many of the organizations, they follow the unfair labor practice. When the female becomes pregnant, they will ask them to go away. You come after that. Or whenever she is due for the delivery, then they terminate and all that. Whenever after termination, after maternity leave, they don't want to take them. These are all some of the unfair practices are happening in the area depending on the employer. Please don't do that. What is Maternity Benefit Act? Maternity Benefit Act is nothing but a motherhood. Had our mothers were not there, had we been be here? No. It is all motherhood, care for the child and care for the mother. That's all, the whole idea. It may be expensive for 26 weeks, one has to provide the leave, but that is required. Even in Manusmriti and Chanakya has also mentioned, any woman who has been in that maternity period, one should not be till 3 months, one should not engage for the employment. Even in Manusmriti and Chanakya has mentioned. Of course, nowadays current generation, 3 months and all that have gone, minimum 1 year. What was one or the other problem will be there. They are not strong like our mothers and grandmothers today. That is the generation because of the lifestyle, today's lifestyle and the conditions. But anyway, the whole idea, what I am trying to do is that follow that obligations of the employer. Then even for their child also, no responsibility of the employer. Till 7 years, till 5 years or 6 years, I do not remember. Okay, creche facility. And in between twice we have to allow for feeding the baby, because there is no substitute for mother's milk, mother's breast milk, what we say for the child. Even in all Cerelac and all that, baby's food, it is mentioned. There is no substitute for your mother's breast milk. Please provide that. In case that is not there, if that is a dry, then only use our food. This is what it is written on Cerelac and all other baby food also. So it means, what I am telling, allowing them twice, not only the law, but it is all required, essential. Because today they are all our mothers, our sisters, our wives, or our bhabi, whoever will be there, our friends. So from this point of view, it has to be seen. Then information about safety and health. Whenever they ask about that one, all that they have to follow. Even under the new Maternity Benefit Act as well as Employees Compensation Act, which was amended, it is an obligation of the employer at the time of induction, from the day one. Whether it is factory, firm, even chartered accountant firm also. First day, whenever those lady or gentleman, whenever they report, the employer has to tell about all the provisions of the Maternity Benefit Act and Employees Compensation Act. It is a mandate. It is a mandate. It is in the book, but many of the organizations, they don't follow. In fact, recently two of my chartered accountants friends, I covered them under PF and ESI. Okay, even they were also telling, sir, all these things are required, why we should do and all that. So, but they want to go work a corporate, they want to comply all the law. We have started and then 1 month back. That is what obligations will be there. Because they should be known, And for that we have to maintain the record, maintain and keep the records. So that is what this information is also very, very important. That is the conditions. Then what are all the obligations of the employer and employees? So therefore, get registered, that is number one, whenever anything will be there. So these are all under all the labor laws, applicable labor laws. Then comply the provisions, whatever that will be there. Then safety, health and welfare, leave and holidays, payment and deductions. Under the payment of wage act, so deduction should not exceed 50%. You are all aware. Wherever there are cooperatives, 75% deduction is allowed. So these are all the provisions. Even whenever you conduct finance audit, all these things you have to glance. You should have a glance. Okay? Because the employee has to also live apart from the legal provisions. Then submission of the returns, periodical returns are there, notice and displays. Some of the organization, including the GST number has to be written everywhere you have seen. Even pollution control board parameters are written in every establishment, you are all aware. Like that, under the labor laws also, abstracts of the act, some of the notices like gratuity and all those things, you are going to see that. Then duties of the employer, I have already elaborated. Then maternity benefit act, I have already elaborated that one. Then what constitutes good governance? Compliance of holiday laws. Okay, that is number one. Then payment laws. Then social security, PF, PSI, ECA, gratuity. Prevention of sexual harassment. This is also one of the very important acts. Recently, just 1 week back or 10 days back, Supreme Court has expressed this concern. Though the act has come in 2013, Prevention of Sexual Harassment Act. Even after 10 days, it has been not implemented properly. Therefore, they want the government. They wanted report within 1 month. Please supply the compliance aspect in establishments, unorganized sectors, including chartered accountants firm. Supreme Court has asked. So, ಯಾವುದಾದರೂ chartered accountant firms, wherever these posh provisions are applicable, committees are applicable, if it is not done, please ensure the compliance. Otherwise, shortly there is going to be big inspection on that matter because of the Supreme Court's judgment as far as POSH Act is concerned. Okay. Then a Contract Labor Regulation Act, in every organizations, wherever that will be there, contract labor will be there. ಯಾರು ಇಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ಒಂದು ಸೆಕ್ಯೂರಿಟಿ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಹೌಸ್ ಕೀಪಿಂಗ್ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ, ಕ್ಯಾಂಟೀನ್ ಸಪ್ಲೈಯರ್ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ. So there all the contract labor provisions are going to be affected. Non-compliance will lead to the compliance issues. Then inspectors and their duties, okay, then penalties will be also there. So my dear friends, these are all under all the labor laws I have made common to save the time. So these are all various provisions that the employer has to keep in mind, starting from registration to the closure. He is the purview of duties and responsibilities, employees, and the compliance aspect, and good governance, etc., etc. It is almost common. I try to summarize that one instead of going in detail whenever we talk about that law. So these are all the provisions that one has to keep in mind. Okay, so that is what I call this presentation as an overview of labor law, legal aspects of employer and employees. In almost all laws, same thing is there. So that is what broadly you have to understand. Now let me go to the specifics. Quickly, very quickly I'll go because time is short. So just I know I want to educate on the laws. Now first let me take the law of Payment of Gratuity Act. Okay. Payment of the Gratuity Act, my dear friends, please let me know when it is applicable. Anybody? Feel free, it is not examination. ಯಾರಿಗೂ ನೇಣು ಹಾಕೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಗೊತ್ತಿದ್ರೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ, ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. Nobody is ಸರ್ವಜ್ಞ here, including me. Okay? Nobody is ಸರ್ವಜ್ಞ. When it is applicable? I have already told. No, that is a eligibility. After 5 years, there is an eligibility. I am asking coverage. Am I coming under this law or no? First, yes, I have already told you. Okay, so that's what you have to keep in mind. And this act, you are all aware, it is nothing but a gratuitous act. Why it is provided? Because employee engaged in factories and all that, everywhere it is applicable, gratuity act. And various definitions like employer, family, wage, continuous service, everything is defined there. Then payment of the gratuity, when it is due, as she said, first condition, after completing the 5 years, or on superannuation, etc., or on accident, etc., etc., all that will be, eligibility will be there. And what is the calculation of the gratuity? You are all aware, I will not go into the details of that. Okay, that is the calculation, and the max is 20 lakh. Max is still 20 lakh from the year, I think it is from 18 or something. Okay, payment of gratuity act is 20 lakh is the maximum. This is the calculation formula under the gratuity act. And in case of seasonal establishment, okay, provisions are different. Then 7 days working wages into number of working, like sugar factories, some of the food industries, plantation in somewhere, they are all seasonal. There you have to follow that procedure. And in excess of 6 months, say if it comes, that you have to take to the next year. If it is less than 6 months, then you have to go to the previous year. And gratuity, I have already told you, 20 lakh is the thing from 2018. And in case if you delay release and payment of the gratuity, 10% simple interest you have to pay for the gratuity. Please keep in mind, you have to advise all your clients about this. And first of all, we should try to comply. ಒಂದು ತಿಂಗಳೊಳಗೆ ಮುಗಿಸಿಬಿಡ್ಬೇಕಾದಲ್ಲ. ಈ ಪಾಪ ಭಾಳ ಬ್ಯುಸಿ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ, ಇವಾಗ ಏಪ್ರಿಲ್ ಮಂತ್ ಬಂತು, ಓಕೆ ಇವಾಗ ಆಡಿಟ್ ಇದೆ, ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಟ್ಯೂಟರಿ ಆಡಿಟ್ ಇದೆ, ಬ್ಯಾಂಕಿಂಗ್ ಆಡಿಟ್ ಇದೆ, ಓಕೆ ಮಾಡೋಣ, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ತಾಳು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಾರ್ದು. Whenever it is due, please ensure that. Then forfeiture, there are forfeiture provisions are also there in the gratuity. I will not go into the detail. I will do all this in labor law program. The employer has got all that rights in this day. And it is the obligation of the employer to have his nomination in Form F. No sooner he completes 1 year, one should keep a nomination form. ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಯಾರು ಯಾವಾಗ ಸಾಯ್ತಾರೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ಹೌದಾ? ಎನಿ ಟೈಮ್ ವಿ ಮೇ ಡೈ, ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಈಸ್ ಶ್ಯೂರಿಟಿ. ಈಗ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು ಮಳೆ ಬಂತಪ್ಪ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಗುಂಡಿನಲ್ಲೇ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಗಟರ್ನಲ್ಲೇ ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಹರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಲ್ಲಿ, ಹೌದಾ? ಕಾರ್ ಹೋಗುವಾಗೆ ಕಾರೇ ನೀರಲ್ಲೇ ಮುಳುಗಿಬಿಡ್ತದೆ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಲ್ಲಿ. ವಿ ಡೋಂಟ್ ನೋ. So therefore, nomination should be very important. Otherwise, in my service, I have come across almost about 12 to 13 cases. After death, they will come say, "Sir, I am real wife. देखो sir, हमारा पेट में भी baby है, इसका है. I am saying, no, these are all my children. ये बुरा है, ये नहीं है, मैं real है, वो हमको दे दो." तक ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಕ್ಕಳನ್ನ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ they will all make them to fall on our feet and do this one. They will all make tamashas. So therefore, this not why I am telling nomination is very important. Even banks and all that, you are all aware. Even the recently securities have also made mandate for all the account holders. Even the bank lockers now they have insisted nomination. You are all aware. I did not tell you the further explain that one. So therefore, nomination form is very, very important. And controlling in case of any gratuity problem, they are all called authorities are called controlling authorities. Inspectors are also there. Then penalties are also there. One more important thing provision you have to keep in mind: gratuity is protected under the law. You cannot adjust to any loans or advances or anything. It is protected like RBI. You cannot adjust to the loans or house or accommodation, okay, etc., etc. Then under the new labor code, fixed term employment is introduced. For him also fixed term to be 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, less than 5 years. If an employee is appointing under fixed term employment, he or she is eligible for gratuity. That is a thing. For more details, you contact me. And notice of opening and closure also employer has to submit. That is the obligation. Display of the notice is also one more important, and display of the act and rules is also very, very important and all that. As far as the compliance is concerned, Form ABC, Form A, notice under the gratuity, and abstract explanation is the important of all this thing. These are all various duties of the employer and obligations under the payment of the Gratuity Act. In some of the organizations there are trustees. Trust will be there. Wherever trust will be there, trust will be managed that one, but provisions remains the same. Some of you may come across the problem or you may ask, sir, in one of the case he has put in 4 months, 8 months, 4 years, 8 months, 10 days. He has completed, sir, whether now he is asking gratuity, can I pay? Of course, there was a judgment by the Tamil Nadu High Court. Okay, in that case they awarded. So if it is more than 240 days, it amounts to a year, pay the gratuity in that case. But Act as such is not amended. I am telling you. So therefore you have to stick, you can stick to the law. Okay, you are not at fault even if you do that. Okay, this is one of the field problem I am seeing in many of the companies. I being a management consultant, I am seeing. Next I take is Payment of Bonus Act. I will not go in detail because provisions I have made. Bonus Act is also very big act. Okay, payment of bonus is for what? For it is nothing but a profit sharing. Bonus, you are all aware, it is nothing but a profit sharing. Okay, I will not go into that. Applicability is when 20 and above employees. First condition. And to get a bonus, an employee has to work for 30 days in that accounting year. That is second mandatory condition. Then when bonus starts? When bonus starts? Yeah, anybody? When bonus starts? Initial stage, first 5 years from the your commercial invoice. From the commercial invoice, bonus will start. Okay. One more provision till 5 years, but in motor language ನಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ 5 ವರ್ಷ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಬೋನಸ್ ಕೊಡಬೇಕಪ್ಪ ಅದು ಬೋನಸ್ ಬರ್ತದೆ. That is true. But 5 years succeeding year, after completing 5 years, it means next year, previous succeeding years, we have to prepare, see the balance sheet, see the profitability, then whatever that will be there, bonus has to be given. Bonus has to be given. Okay, so those are all the provisions for all that. Good. Now, one more thing, you as a chartered accountant should be aware. Bonus Act is considered it is for an establishment. For example, Pan India company may be there. For example, take this Nandini, I mean Karnataka Cooperative Milk Federation. They have got all different branches. Where in all different establishments, if there is a separate balance sheet and PL and L account is maintained, then that balance sheet and that will hold good. Otherwise, centralized balance sheet or whatever that will be there, that will be an account for the profitability, ascertaining the profitability. That you have to keep in mind. Details you can see the act. And I have already told you about the applicability and all that. And it is not applicable for LIC, universities and educational institutes. It is applicable now. Earlier it was not there. Hospitals, Chamber of Commerce not applicable. RBI, FCI, UTI, social welfare institutes are not entitled for the bonus. Sorry, bonus is not applicable even for the educational institutes right now. Gratuity is applicable. What I mean to say, gratuity is applicable for educational institutes. Okay, eligibility for bonus, I have already told you 30 days in that accounting year. And the salary limit, one more is, what is the salary limit? Anybody? 7,000, though it is a 21,000 rupees limit for the bonus eligibility criteria, eligibility, but while counting 7,000 rupees or minimum wages, whichever is higher. So that is the provision you have to keep in mind. That is one. And a computation of number of working days, that is also mentioned. I will not go into that. Like gratuity, here also there are disqualification for bonus. Employer can forfeit or hold the bonus or hold the F and F. What you say? Full and final settlement. Okay. So that you can go through. I will not go into that. Okay. Deductions are not allowed. Minimum and a maximum bonus. 8.33 minimum, 20% maximum. You have to arrive to the computation based on your balance sheet, form A, B, and you have to disperse in form C. That is the minimum cost. Maximum bonus also have to, and a time limit for bonus payment, 8 months from the closing of accounting year. Normally we close in March and it means November 31st till 12 PM. Not PM. PM, correct, Ratri. Okay. Time limit for payment of bonus. Within that, one has to do that. Calculation of the bonus, it is all your chartered accountant subject. Go through that one. I am not going into that. I am also not expert into that, because set on, set off, allocable surplus, all that you have to take into the consideration. You have to take and do that. Based on that, you have to arrive the percentage. ಸಾವುಕಾರ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು, ಓನರ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು, MD ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು ಪರ್ಸೆಂಟೇಜ್ ಫಿಕ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಕೊಡೋದಲ್ಲ. Okay, that is not there. Okay, that I am not going into the detail. Then what are all the duties and rights of the employers are also mentioned. Anyway, cover them, pay them, maintain the records, follow that one. Okay, those are all in the gist I am telling you. Rights of the employees, he is eligible in case, if he fulfills those are the conditions, eligible for 8.33 and 20%. Okay, recovery of the bonus due. Okay, there is also provision for all that. Then offences and the penalties are also there here. But anyway, it is not that so serious act. I have not come across, unless the union or the government officer proposes that act. Then these are all very important. You as a chartered accountants and finance people, be aware. First schedule, okay, that is all very important. That is computation of gross profit. Second schedule, computation of gross profit. Third schedule and the fourth schedule. Because these are all the schedules based on which we calculate the bonus. That is the reason I am mentioning you and showing the schedules under the acts. And records and registers to be maintained are Form A, computation of all allocable surplus. Form B, set on and set off of allocable surplus. Form C, disbursement of the bonus. And Form D is annual return. Annual return. So these are all the obligations of the employer of any type of the establishment. So that's all about the payment of bonus act in gist. Anyway, all these laws need minimum half day to deliberate and go into that. But I am providing you in a capsule form, presuming you are already aware about the basic things. Basic things. That is why I called this presentation as overview of labor laws, not labor law session. So now next, let me take minimum wages act. Well friends, as I said, minimum wages act is a very serious act. Okay, it is a very serious act because penalties are serious, and in case of non-compliance, authorities will take very stringent action. So therefore, whatever the minimum wages are there, one has to follow. Okay, minimum rates of wages in certain establishments. When minimum wage is applicable, anybody? When minimum wage is applicable? Or for which industry minimum wage is applicable? I put that way. Scheduled industries. For scheduled industries, minimum wage is applicable. But under the new labor code, schedules they have taken out. All industries across, there we are calling it as a floor wage. Floor wage we are going to call under the new labor code. Okay, so that is what. And under the minimum wage, normally basic and cost of living allowance will be there based on cost of what I can say index. Cost on the index, that will be till there. And who is the employer? That is all defined. Scheduled employment, I have already told you. What is wages is defined. And what are the exclusions are also there? It is there. Because of the paucity of the time, I will not go into the detail. But you as a professionals, please study. Okay. Then employee, who is an employee, is also defined. Then fixing of minimum rates of wages, there is a procedure. There will be minimum wage board will be there. So they will take into the consideration the cost of living allowance, index and all that, family size and all that. Based on that, there will be tripartite committee consisting of government, employer and the employees unions. Okay, based on that, periodically minimum wages are going to be fixed and implemented, and normally for every 5 years they are going to be revised. Okay, that's what the minimum rates of wages are fixed, and obligations of the employer to provide minimum wages under any circumstances. He cannot break that. Okay, that's what you have to keep in mind. And the procedure for fixing and revising the minimum wages, again the minimum wage board every year 5 years. And payment of minimum rates of wages, it is a mandatory. And under the minimum wages act, what are all the working hours, what are all the rest hours, what are all the overtime, okay, what are the working for female, everything is mentioned. One point you must understand here, most of the organizations, particularly whatever you come across, there will be not either factories or shops, where there is less than 10 employees, less than 5 employees, less than 8 employees, less than 7 employees, where there are no any provisions of the labor laws are not applicable. There, all minimum wage provisions are applicable, including working hours, rest hours, overtime provisions, everything and all that. Whenever the inspectors, they conduct the inspection, they issue the notice under the minimum wage provisions. I hope this point is very important that you as a professionals be aware. Working hours continued, overtime also same thing. That is working hour, that is one. Wages for more classes of work. Supposing it is a piece rate work is done, then how you are going to pay? Whatever they do, it should not be less than minimum wage, even under the piece rate. Some of the organizations, they practice piece rate. Okay, they are also the minimum wage that is applicable for all that. Then maintenance of the records are also here, like wage register, attendance, and wage slip is mandatory under the minimum wage, compulsory. Sambhalada chiti, ಕೊಡಲೇಬೇಕು, ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ ಅಂತಂದರೆ it is a great violation and you will be liable for the prosecution. And the inspectors are also here, and in case of non-payment of the minimum wage, case file ಆದರೆ penalty will be 10 times of the wage. That is the seriousness of this act. Okay, so therefore follow the minimum wage. Then claims, employee can claim in case of there is anything, penalties and certain offences are also there. Okay, non-compliance is a culpable offence under the Indian Penal Code. That is why I said in the beginning, it is a serious act. Cognizance of the offence by the company, payment of undisbursed amounts of due employees also, procedure is mentioned. Okay, that you have to enter. Then contracting out. What is this contracting out? An employee cannot give away his right, his or her rights. That's what the contracting out. These are all certain registers you have to maintain as per under the Karnataka minimum wage rules. Register of fines, that is form 1. Form 2, register of deduction, damage, loss, etc. Form 3, annual return. Then form 4, overtime register for the workers. Form 5, register of wages. Form 6, wage slip. Form 7, muster roll. Okay, these are all the various registers and forms you have to maintain. Now you may ask me one question. Sir, we have got such and such a software. Everything is there. We are maintaining in the Excel sheet and all that. What is your botheration? No. You can maintain internally, no problem. But under the labor laws, whatever that wage slip or salary sheet or attendance, you should be in the format. It can be soft copy, not an issue, but it should be in the format. It should be in the format and it should be retrievable for the inspector whenever there is a demand. That is a provision you have to keep in mind. Okay, that's what you must be aware. This is all about Minimum Wage Act. So next is Maternity Benefit Act. Maternity Benefit Act, as I said, nothing but a Matrudevo Bhava, and where there are more than 10 employees, that is all applicable. And to get a maternity benefit, an employee, female, has to work 80 days in that year to get an eligibility, 80 days eligibility criteria. Once she is due for all that, 26 weeks maternity benefit, that is leave with the pay, should be available. In case of abortion or in case of death on the maternity table and all that, there also payment is available there. That we have to go in detail. And in case she dies, then for the nominee or husband who will be there, for them it will all go. Okay, that is what the Maternity Benefit Act. And when she is pregnant, when she is working, It is the obligation of the employer to provide light work to her. Light work in the sense, long standing should not be there. Long standing should not be there. By long standing, what happens? Her coitus may get affected. Abortion ಆಗೋ ಚಾನ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ. For every 1 hour, 2 hour, she should be made to sit. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬಳಲಿ ಆಯಾಸ ಆಗಿರ್ತದೆ ಬಸರಿ ಹೆಣ್ಮಗಳಿಗೆ. She should get rest. Rest should be provided. Water has to be taken. She has to attend all her natural duties or anything if it is there. That is the care the employer has to take. Okay, that's all. And whenever lady is under maternity leave, she cannot work in other organization also. That will be also there. And the next, surrogative mother. Those provisions are also there under the new Maternity Benefit Act. I will not go into that. And any lady, she is eligible for first 2 children, 26 weeks. Subsequent, more than 2, 10 weeks only. Okay, so that will be there. And the employer has to provide all these wages. Lady has to, whenever she is due for maternity, she has to provide certificate and all that. Then the employer can relieve her. And in case of any emergency, further 1 month leave is also allowed, but that may be without pay after 26 weeks if there is anything. And the employer has to display the abstract in form P, I think, if I remember correctly. Those are all the obligations under the Maternity Benefit Act of the provision. Now next I will go for ESI Act in short. Now everything will be in short only now. So ESI Act is nothing but a Social Security Act. You are all aware. Okay. It is a socio-economic protection to injured and immediate family dependents. Okay. Now it is covered in almost all India because it is a really beautiful act. I really salute. I really admire. Okay. Now look this cartoon. After seeing the bill at the time of discharge, that fellow fell down. Why? Because bill was lakhs and crores. Many of us might have been experienced this also. But under the ESI, you have no pay, single penny has to be paid. About 8 or 10 years back, there was a case in Kolkata, worker, he has a multiple operations. 1 crore, 13 lakhs, 6,000 something money was spent by that worker for various operations, multiple operations. Young fellow. Everything ESI board, no single paise he spent because he was a ESI member. Everything will ESI will take. That is a protection to the employee and the employer. Kotiyagane, yes, it will pay. Therefore, even your chartered accountant's firm, recently one of my professional friend argued with me, no Ram, why you should cover? None of my employees are coming into that. But security iddarallappa. ಯಾರೋ ಬರ್ತಾರಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ, ಸಮ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಟ್ರೇಡ್ ಇಸ್ ಲೆಸ್ ದ್ಯಾನ್ ಇದಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ, ಅವ್ರಿಗಾದ್ರೂ ಕವರ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಎಷ್ಟು. ಯು ಗೆಟ್ ಕವರ್ಡ್, ಯು ಡೋಂಟ್ ಪೇ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ನೋ ಬಡಿ ಎಂಪ್ಲಾಯೀಸ್ ಆರ್, ಬಟ್ ಯು ಗೆಟ್ ಕವರ್ಡ್. ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಟ್ಯೂಟರಿ ಆಬ್ಲಿಗೇಷನ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ, 10 and above. Okay, if that is there. That is what I advise my chartered accountant firm also, and we have taken it up that way. So that is the benefit and importance of ESI I am telling you. And it is applicable everywhere for all that. Wage limit is 21,000, you are all aware. And contributions also you are all aware, 3.25 from the employer, 0.75 employees, and it has to be paid on or before 15, and it is on the gross salary, except conveyance and all that under the ESI. And 2 contributions periods are there, April to September, October to March. Then you have to maintain, records to be maintained, all details are there, I will not go into that. Then inspections will be also there, records for inspection. Okay, that is all very, very important. Then levy of interest and damage. This is what you have to play the role as a finance person. You should not allow any of your clients or companies to get into this. So therefore, in other words, make the payment in a time. Make the payment in a time. So that is what you have to say. Okay. and ESI and reliefs available. You can go through that one. I will not read that one. You can read that one. And ESI has got 5 lamps in their logo. If you see, 5 lamps are there. 5 lamps are what? They indicate 5 benefits under ESI. So these are all the 5 benefits available under the ESI. Medical, sickness, disablement, dependence benefit, maternity benefit, and also the funeral benefit. Okay, even for the funeral benefit, 15,000 money is available. In case he has no relatives, our Anatha Shava Kuda, our friends, they can take and do the needful. Okay, that is one of the provision under the ESI. And maternity benefit is also available. Other facilities are also available for funeral, medical bonus, physical rehabilitation, vocational thing, etc. They are also there. And the employer obligations he has to cover, pay the contributions in time, render all the assistance to the employees. Whenever they are on leave, he need not pay the wage. ESI will pay. Accident, whenever it happens, he has to report. And obligations of the contractors. Contractor employees are also covered. Okay, he has to do all the same thing. Benefit period I have already told. Don't waste time in finding the loopholes and flaws in the law. Instead, know, understand and follow the law. I request all of you to please repeat 3 times in your mind by making movements of your lips. 3 sala udi ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮನಸ್ಸನ್ನ. Please read 3 times in your mind by making your lips movable. Piti piti ಅಂತ ಓದಿ ಅದು. I hope you understand the spirit behind that. Okay, those are all the benefits. ESI is your trustee. Trust it all the time. Participative health insurance scheme for a happy and healthy nation. Chinta se mukti. ESI ನಾವು ಸ್ಲೋಗನ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾ? ಚಿಂತಾ ಸೇ ಮುಕ್ತಿ, ಚಿಂತೆಯಿಂದ ಮುಕ್ತಿ. VIP is our VIP. These are all various things of ESI. Very, very great provisions. Okay, now I am unable to stand because I am getting some pain. I sit and take remaining acts. In the sitting stage, I will do that. Now, next act I want to take you is on, orally I will go, on the Industrial Employment Standing Order Act. Many of the chartered accountants you might have not heard, but it is a time to know about that one, therefore we selected this act also. So whenever after all this registration, establishment, everything I said, then the appointment of the employee, once he comes, appointment order will be issued, then what are all his service conditions? So what are all the obligations of him? What is that employer and employee has to do? All those are all very, very important. Whether it is applicable, not applicable, whether you do or not do, I request all of you as a professionals, please read Industrial Employment Standing Order Act. 10 times you read. Why I am suggesting, once you read, many of your unanswered questions are going to be answered. What? Many of your unanswered questions are going to be answered by reading that. That is the reason you as a professional, so even for the knowledge sake, you read. Because one or the other way you are going to come across that. Acha, this industrial establishment is a central act. In central, where there are more than 100 employees, that is applicable. As far as Karnataka is concerned, it is 50 and above. Once employee strength touches 50, obligation on the part of the employer to draft a standing order and submit to the authorities for certification. It is almost about a 27 to 32 page document. In my service, I have drafted more than 35 standing orders and translated to Kannada more than 60, because it has to be done in regional language also. That is a mandate. Okay, that will be there. In this standing order, It all starts from what is company, various definitions like manager, establishment, appointment order, everything is defined. Then appointment procedure, then entry procedure, okay, then working conditions, safety obligations, duties and responsibilities, payment date, in case of any problem like layoff, retrenchment, closure provisions, then undisbursed wages about that, then communication issue of notice and letters, then inventions if anything is done while doing the work, etc. Then disciplinary actions in detail, then entry and out provisions for all those things. So like that, almost about 60 to 75 various provisions which an process we come across for an employee, everything is mentioned in that. Of course, we have to little modify based on our need and requirement of the organization. We have to do, then that becomes legal document once it is certified. Once it, because the employer and employee both have to follow that one, it is the obligation. Okay? It cannot be changed. Even if it is, wants to change, then it again amounts to the amendment. Even for the IT companies it is applicable. But in Karnataka, IT lobby, they prevailed on the government, then they took the exemption. But the government gave exemption till 24th it is there, 24 year. It is there, but subject to certain conditions. Conditions they have given. Okay? So, like that, even for IT enabled industries also it is applicable under that provision. And this is also nothing but a service condition standing order act, which you must be aware and advise all your people. Next is on Industrial Dispute Act, which is again most important. Many of you might have not heard about that one. But it is a legal subject, voluminous books are there. To speak on Industrial Dispute Act, at least I need 3 days time. At least I need 3 days time. But in a very capsule form, I will provide you industrial dispute. As the name itself suggests, nothing but resolving the dispute. Money and male jagla irode, difference of opinion irode. ಈಗ ಸರ್ಕಾರದಲ್ಲಿನೇ ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಆಗಿದ್ದು 2-3 ದಿವಸ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಜಗಳ ಕಿತ್ತಾಟ ಶುರುವಾಗಿದೆ. ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಆದಾಗಿನ ಇನ್ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿನಲ್ಲಿ ವೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ರೂಲ್ ದಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಶುಡ್ ನಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ ಇನ್ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ವೆನ್ ಎವರ್ ಎನಿ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಯೂಟ್ ಆರ್ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ವಿಲ್ ಕಮ್, it is a mechanism to resolve the issues. Okay, therefore what are all the authorities, that is all mentioned. Then layoff, retrenchment, closure provisions are there. Then transfer of undertaking provisions I mentioned. Then what are all the strike and lockout. In case of strike and lockout, what are all the provisions, that is all mentioned there. And what are all unfair labor practices are there, that is also mentioned in that. Change of service conditions. Under what that we have to provide a notice, change the service conditions, that is all mentioned there. Okay, so like this, various provisions are there, everything that is all mentioned. That also you have to read at least the bare act, so that it will provide you the insights about the man management, dispute and conflicts. Okay, so that is what, particularly the service conditions and all that. Right from appointment to probation, confirmation, terminations, even non-payment of the wages also. It is a very big act, that is all about Industrial Dispute Act. Under the new Labour Code, it has come as Industrial Relations Code, IR Code, 2020 it has come on that. Okay, so that is all about Industrial Dispute Act. Then next, finally coming to the POSH Act, Prevention of Sexual Harassment, 2013 Act. In India, till 2013, before that, when Supreme Court gave the guidelines on Vishaka case, there was no any law for control or ankusha for prevention of sexual harassment. No law. I think why the law was not there, because even when we read Mahabharata story, there also, this Draupadi was harassed by, who is that? Brahannale and all that. Kichaka. Then Bhimasena, when Draupadi complained to him, then Bhima came and killed the Kichaka for harassing Draupadi. In Mahabharata, we read that story. Even in Ramayana, when Ravana took this Sita under that Pushpaka Vimana, And he was insisting her to marry me. You are beautiful lady, you are so and so, allow me to touch you. Okay, please marry me, be with me. Okay, I will provide you this and all that. Sita no okay, you have all read in Mahabharata, Ramayana. Then who came to her rescue? Jatayu. Who is Jatayu? Jatayu is a Garuda Pakshi. Jatayu came and she fought with all strength. But Ravana was very strong. Then he told Ravana, what is that Ravana you are doing? You are harassing the lady, which is adharma. Adharma. You are, and that too you are a Raja, you are a king. You must be the model. If you harass and if you elope the lady, then what message you are giving to your prajas? Citizens, what message you are giving? Stop this one, this is not good for you. You are doing a very wrong thing. Right now you stop your thing and hand over Sita to me. She fought the guy, Jatayu, and made a big sound. But even then, ultimately what Ravana he did, he took his knife and hit on the Jatayu. When the Jatayu, the things were, what is that we call, pakke, what we call, they were all cut. Then she fell down. That she was waiting for Rama to come. Then Rama came. She informed this Ravana has taken, I fought this out, this is there. Then Rama became very, very considerate. Oh, you have done or made all the arrangement which you have followed dharma in preventing and stopping the adharma of eloping the lady, that to marry the lady. Therefore I will provide you moksha. Rama provided the moksha to Jatayu. We all hear this story in Ramayana. It means ages together harassment is existing, what I am telling. Okay, these are all story. But law was not there. Law was not there, that is unfortunate. After Vishaka case, Supreme Court gave a guidelines. It defined also what is sexual harassment. Then law came in place 2013 Act. It is also very serious act. Okay, what is sexual harassment is defined. Then to prevent that it is mentioned. What are all the employer's responsibilities? What are all the employee's obligations? Then internal committee, how to handle that one? What should be the report? What they have to do and all that? What are all the penalties? All that, everything is mentioned under the law. That is what I said. Though it is done now, it is exactly 10 years. So Supreme Court became very garam, very hot. What is this you people are doing? So many women are entering the organizations, female are entering. Where is the security for our female mothers? So take stringent action. Even many of these firms, establishments, non-establishment, including the chartered accountant firms and other establishments, they are not formed the committees. They have not taken any steps for the this action. Please do that. And they have given 1 month mandate. Government has to provide information to the Supreme Court, submit the information. This is the latest, very, very latest case, even not 15 days. If anybody wants, I will provide you the details. So this is what about the POSH Act, friends. So therefore, where there are more than 5 or 10, I do not remember, I think more than 5, I think 5 employees are there. There it is obligation on the part of the employer to form a internal committee, and they have to devise the policy both in English as well as vernacular language, and they should be made aware about that. And in case of any such contingency, inside workplace, outside workplace, by the vendor, at the workplace, even if they are on the travel, some of these jobs demands travel, female have to travel. Even if there something happens, employer is responsible for all that. And it is adharma also. Okay, we as a Indian people, we all know what is our culture. So that is all about the law of prevention of sexual harassment. Therefore, my friends, please advise all your clients, depending on your establishment also, take action and do that one. Anyway, because most of the females we see everywhere now. Even they have become Army, Navy, Air Force. Even recently that new scheme is what that new scheme they have taken, 3 years appointment in defense. What is that? Agnipath. Agnipath also, lot of females, young girls have come. Anyway, we are proud about that. Because today all our mothers and all these dinos, they have taken good shape. We should be really proud. And today morning we saw the paper in IAS toppers are all female today. Okay, today's newspaper morning. We should be proud. So therefore, it is the duty of the government as well as all of us as a prudent citizens to protect that. So now my final thing is on labor codes, new labor law change. Now so far all these years, everybody was bombarding, oh, these labor laws are draconian laws, we need to change, make the change, all that, employers, all prosecutions, blah blah, including you chartered accountants were bombarding about all the labor laws. So with all that, ultimately in 2019, government decided we should do something. They came with code on wage, 2019, they came. Subsequent years in 2015, Social Security Act, then Occupational Safety, Health and Code, then Industrial Relations Code, totally 4 Act came into that. Consolidating 29 labor laws have been consolidated and made into 4 laws. Once these labor code came, 29 laws will be redundant. What I said, including payment of wage, bonus, gratuity, all those will be under one. They made all these labor codes. They have made 4, and they are made more applicable. Wider they made. Like earlier it was only labor laws. Today it is all manager law also. Labor codes. They are all manager laws because manager supervisors are also covered in them. Earlier, we used to call workmen because their wage were less, workmen we used to call. Today that wage definition is widened, everywhere it is common, and it has been enhanced. Even the managers are covered under that. How the wage should be there, all that is made. In fact, on that there was a session here in the same platform, same thing I have done in 2019 and 20, code on wage. What is wage is defined. It is all applicable in common. And provisions have been widened, and returns, so many multiple returns were there, they have been reduced. And inspectors were made to call as facilitators. And even in the Bonus Act, if a person is convicted for posh provisions, then he will also lose the bonus. Earlier 2 provisions I have told you. This is 3rd provision under the new act of that. And for female, night shift working were restrictions in factories. Now they have been allowed under that. Of course, subject to certain conditions like safety and dignity to follow that, even in hazardous process. Leave provisions have been announced. Encashment was silent so far about the law, but under new law, an encashment provision came. And benefits, they have been enhanced. Anyway, that session also I have taken online during Corona period for all your members. So these were all some of the new changes that have taken place. Already they have law is been formed, rules have been formed, gazette is also made, but now it is suffering from maternity problem in the sense, okay, effective date has been not notified. Once that effective date is notified, then all these labor codes are going to be implemented in India. Till then, let us not worry, these existing laws only we have to take. That is what elaborately and in a capsule format I have already provided you the information. That is all about the labor laws. Okay, my dear friends, this is all about my presentation. Now I leave this last 10 minutes for your question and answer, then last 5 minutes for the organizers to do that. Regarding my presentation so far, whatever I have made, if you have any questions or any doubts, okay, you are free to ask me. And I am basically HR professional. I am not chartered accountant with a 30 years industry experience and 16 years being a management consultant. In my introduction, you are all aware. I am author of 11 books in HR and labor laws. All the labor laws I made to Canada also, regional language and all that. During any time, if you need any compliance or any HR, labor related, even I conduct audits also. If you want anybody to have our associate in your other regular thing, it is our pleasure to associate with you people. Okay, that is what my thing. Anyway, my address I am going to share you. I have already shared. If anybody wants, I am ready to share this one. This is all about. Now I am open for questions relating to my presentation. So far, whatever I have done. Once again, I thank the institute for having picked me and provided an opportunity to present my views on labor laws. And also last but not least for you people. Unfortunately rain came, because of that attendance is seen. Otherwise all the time I see 30-40 people in the last so many years I have seen. Anyway, not a matter, but whoever will be there, thank you for your patient listening. Thank you very much once again. Any questions? If there are anything, I am able to answer.
Regarding this PF factor, as per the new Supreme Court judgment, now instead of 15,000, that for the persons who are joined after, there is before 2014, tenant's pension is to be with option is there. So in that case, what will be the amount which will be lost by the employees?
Sir, that is in fact, I am also under that. I am also getting PF pension. Okay, after my because though I left the organization before my very much retirement and all that, all their 3 circulars are confusing. In fact, I wrote to PF. This is my thing. These are all things. Please tell me, am I eligible to file or how much I am get? Then they wrote me a 1-line reply. Please refer these 3 circulars. When we read these circulars, we get earlier only we have 5 doubts. After reading that, 100 doubts will come. So how much amount we get and all that, I am unable to tell you, even though I have filed my thing. In fact, today I filed my enhanced application. I don't know whether I am eligible or not eligible. I have not bothered at all. Even PF authorities are also, they are unable to say, because now they said administrative charges are all to be borne by the employer. That is their latest this thing. So if you are eligible, if you are to, you please file, wait and see. Whatever they write and all that, they may ask you to submit some lakhs and all that. Depending on that, you take a call. Then if whatever is beneficial, one has to take a call. Otherwise, I have not gone into much that detail because I got lot of confusion. I stopped there. It is with so many 90% of the people. That is the position, sir, honestly. Yeah. Yeah. I think it is.
Is it mandatory to file Form U under the Shops and Establishment Act?
Form
U.
It is, you need not file. You have to issue the appointment order and maintain. That's all. It is not filing. Form Q is not for filing. It is nothing but appointment order. You have to give to the employees.
Not annual U. It is Form U. Annual return.
Form U. Oh yes, it is mandatory. It is mandatory. Otherwise, consequences will be there. Online it is.
Is there any monetary?
Even if it is delay, please file. Even now also, take corrective action. If you have not filed, you even now also you can file. Yes, sir.
For how many years do we maintain all these records?
Yeah, very good question. I really admire. Under your Income Tax Act, you are all aware it is 8 years. Like that, under the labor laws, 3 years from the last entry. From the last entry, 3 years you have to maintain under the labor laws. Like PF, there was no law as such. They used to rattle the employees. But under the new labor code, they said they have kept 5 years. So within that only they have to do. Otherwise, normally 3 years under the labor laws. Good question. Which I in fact left in my presentation, though it was in that. Thank you for good question. Yeah.
The PF Act, we have to analyze whether it is applicable to an employer or not applicable to an employer.
10, 20 and above, straight,
EPS,
direct.
EPS contribution. There are 2 contributions, right? EPF and EPS contribution. So EPS contribution, there is another chaos where it's been happening for like the company has contributed to EPS and then department says, I think it's to contribute to EPS. It has to be merged with the EPF.
No, I think that you better you check with the enforcing authorities only, because whatever we may give as an academicians or compliance people, if you have any confusion, better you call public relations officer and enforcing officer, take the clarification, or write to the grievance cell, they will reply you and get clarified and be clear on that. Don't keep that confusion, because day-to-day aspect PF I am not doing, honestly speaking. Though I give the opinion and all that, day-to-day aspect I am not doing. All these online and all that. So I have no idea. So better you write to the grievance cell and get your reply. That is the best. It may be useful for so many people also. Then you share with the institute. Okay, that point clarifies. Thank you.
Members, as we all know that labor laws in India are to be strictly adhered to, and any mistakes in compliance by organization comes heavily on them, and because of it, it is said almost 80 to 90% of labor laws in labor codes are in favor of workforce. So, as we, the advisors or auditors or consultants of organization, need to be updated on all labor laws applicable. That is why we were here all 2 hours now. A round of applause to the speaker of the day, Mr Ram K Navratna, who has dwelled upon on the subject on behalf of members present here and managing committee members of Bangalore branch of SISF ICI. We thank you, sir. And as a token of appreciation and gratitude, we would like to present a memento to Sri Ram, sir. May I call upon CA Puneet to come out to dais and then hand over memento to the speaker. Thank you, Puneet. Thank you, sir. With that, seeking a greater support from you all, I, CA Manjunath Mallu, Secretary of Bangalore branch, sign off for the day. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good day.